So I will admit, going back and playing Forza Horizon 1 after playing Forza Horizon 2, basically back to back, honestly felt way weirder than I thought. Now, it's not necessarily in a negative way. It's more along the lines of, oh, so Forza Horizon 2 kind of made my expectations a little bit insane, going backwards into each game. And then going back into Forza Horizon 1, I kind of went, whoa. So FH2 changed how I looked at these games, and then FH1 kind of just threw me off. The thing is, though, I'm not saying that Forza Horizon 1 feels off in a negative way. It's more along the lines of, oh, okay, so this game kind of blew me away a little bit, and this one kind of just went, oh, well, guess what, bro? This is where it all started. So you played the second game, then went to the first. Well, you will end up being in for a treat basically around every single area, guys. And I gotta admit, if you can do it, boot up Forza Horizon 2 and then boot up 1 afterwards. Like, play that game kind of for like an hour or so, and then simply jump on a Forza Horizon 1 and do the same thing. I'm going to be real, guys. You will easily notice different things like the menu vibes, the overall starting part of the game itself. You might end up going, oh, yeah, so this is that feeling that was kind of missing right away. Or, oh, okay, so the nostalgia kind of hits with this game a little bit more than that one. It's not really in a negative way, but it's something I definitely noticed. And it's kind of crazy, as I mentioned in some other videos, that for some weird reason, I somehow have nostalgia even though I've never played these games, which is very weird, but also really cool. I will admit that. But the other part I was kind of thinking about was the overall structure design of both games as well, like going one game to an hour and then the other one kind of, and the thing is, guys, I have played both games for like 50 hours, if you're wondering, so I didn't just start on them. So I can probably give you my, like, honest, like, structure shock of how the games are from going back and forth. I will admit, Forza Horizons 1's festival progression is more strict in a good way. I do like how the entire game is structured on there with basically everything feeling realistic. One thing I will admit too that I really did notice about FH1, guys, I've also seen other people mention this. I kind of like how the entire map just feels like the festival belongs there, but also when you go to each racing hub, a lot of them are real sponsors like GoPro and different things. It's cool to see real sponsors there. You also then end up seeing before the races start, you'll see like the people in the events and everything going on. It's kind of like a really cool type of feeling I noticed that FH2 kind of got rid of in a way. It's not negative, it's just, okay, well, I noticed this and it probably wasn't in that game. And I kind of wish it was in that game because I like seeing little things like people hanging out before these events started, which we are luckily going to see that again, most likely return. The other thing I did notice, though, is speaking of the entire structure, you'll obviously have the wristband design in Forza Horizon 1, shocking, right? But you'll have the locked events there, so you have to do these specific events till you can level up to get the other ones, whereas I was noticing in FH2, you kind of just jump in there. I was playing, I did like a championship, went to one of the other hubs, picked a race, went to another championship, did some other races there, so obviously they will end up having different designs in them, not necessarily a bad thing, as I feel like what they were aiming for in each game does seem to work. So I guess we could say that there is obviously a different type of design there, which is something I really also kind of liked. I obviously did enjoy how each game was structured differently. You can see it and also feel it when you are playing them. Now, one part I did like about Forza Horizon 2, guys, I will admit this, is the openness of the map is obviously a little bit different. You can drive along a lot of, more areas. It's not fully open like you see in FH3 or something, but it's definitely a lot more open than how FH1 was. Now, is that a bad thing? No, because obviously I will admit I kind of liked having the closed roads and design in FH1 and going back and forth and seeing the super open areas you could drive in and then, jumping on FH1 and having the smaller areas that you can't just go out and drive into a field or something. To be real, it's actually okay. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed that. I don't mind it. I would like to know what y'all think. Do you also not mind the more, I guess you could say, closed coursey type of races, or I guess you could even say map design, where you can't just drive anywhere? Let me know what y'all think, because I feel like that's a very interesting line I see a lot of people discuss on, so I can't wait to see what y'all say there. The other part I was noticing pretty immediately is playing both games back to back, guys. It's kind of funny because every Forza game feels so dang great, and yet they still feel different in some way. I know everyone's like, it's the same game every single time. Well, yeah, there's some same aspects there as it's a game in a series, bro, so obviously they will take things from the other one. It's not a brand new game every single time, but they take things from that one, put new ones into the other game. But I was noticing FH1 cars kind of feeling a bit stiffer in some ways, or, probably because you can't actually tune them fully is one of the biggest reasons why they'll end up feeling heavier depending on the car you drive. And it's honestly a really great feeling jumping into a muscle car than jumping into like the Gumpert Apollo and then, feeling that car grip in different ways, but feeling like the stiffness of that vehicle, which again, probably comes down to not being able to tune. As I did notice in FH2, some of the cars might be a little bit easier, maybe a little smoother, I guess, which is something I was noticing, but it really wasn't too insane. I was, in there going, okay, well, I could see the similarities here with how the cars feel and handle, and that's not a bad thing because the physics in Forza Horizon in general seem to be pretty dang great. Now, going back and forth and playing FH1 after FH2, guys, I gotta admit, one thing I was noticing is the overall design structure of the events on top of, like, how the game is designed and all that, but I was noticing FH1 is obviously a tad more structured. It does feel more race-focused in a way, like, hey, head over here, do these events, head over to the street hub or whatever, do some of these nighttime, midnight battle type of races, and then, have these other races that you have to go do to level up, where I was noticing jumping on FH2, it does obviously lean into more vehicle variety to where, okay, well, head over to your hub, bro, pick an off-road, rally, you could use a performance car, aka like a Lamborghini or a Supra, I should say JDM hypercar, supercar, would have most likely made more sense there instead of me losing my mind a little bit, but it did feel like it has a bit more variety in that aspect, and it kind of made me go, okay, well, FH1 over there is a little bit more, I guess you could say, basic, not in a bad way. Obviously, it's more of a structured design, but I also kind of feel like, and when playing FH2, it does kind of give you that feeling of, okay, well, you do have more freedom. I will admit that. And guys, to be honest, I'm planning to talk about every single Forza Horizon game in multiple other videos going over some stuff, so stay tuned for more things where I kind of deep dive into that. But let's now talk about one of my favorite parts about both games and kind of going back and forth and playing each one, guys. I gotta admit, they really are super solid in every area here. That is the map of FH1 and the map of FH2. Now, we obviously do know they are different. FH2 is based on like an Italy slash like France type of design with how it is, with the areas and all that. And then FH1 is obviously based in Colorado. Not too much crazy stuff going on there. But each one really does offer its own unique atmosphere and feeling. Now, we obviously do know Forza Horizon 1 has less off-roading thing. That's something I did notice, because I kind of jumped on FH2 and did some off-road races and went, oh, yeah, well, I don't have a ton of these on FH1. Not a huge deal, but it is something that I kind of noticed that I was like, okay, well, more of these in areas of Colorado would have been pretty dang dope. But then again, though, I jumped on FH1 and realized after playing 2 that I was like, no, well, there's a lot of really fun road races in this game that also kind of got me really enjoying this a bit more than how FH2 had it in some ways. Now, obviously, there's a lot of races in that game, but I do like the structure of the races in FH1 on where they take you and the overall kind of road-focused feeling they kind of had. It was kind of dope. I did enjoy it, driving the different cars in there. It really was kind of making me go, man, this does feel really off to me, bro. It's just, playing each game really does make you go, okay, well, this, and this is dope, and then I kind of wish this, and this was in here. And that was something you'll probably notice playing a new game than going back to the old one. It is something I have definitely noticed. But the entire weird feeling I was kind of getting at, guys, is probably when you play Forza Horizon 1 after 2, like, again, going from a newer game to the old one before that, which is something you could do at Need for Speed if you want. That would be a really good example. But you'd probably go in there and go, okay, so right after 2, I go to 1, you'll be like, oh, well, this system isn't in there. This game is obviously a little bit, older. It might feel a little more dated graphically in some places, which, to be real, I don't really feel that way with any of these games, but you could probably get that feeling that it might end up going, okay, well, maybe this game isn't worse than that. It's just a different overall design that it's more restricted, and you might end up going, okay, well, it's just different. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a terrible thing, but you might end up going, nah, bro, I kind of missed this from FH2 when I went into FH1. This feature in this game would be crazy. Can you guys imagine? I kind of thought about this a little bit. When you're playing some newer games and playing some old games, can you guys imagine some of the old games with some of how the newer features are? Because some of them, we can admit, are good, and they would be in the old games. You probably love the older games of that said series even more. Am I right? That was something I really did notice. Now, I'm not saying this makes FH1 bad, because to be real, I love Forza Horizon 1. And at this point, it's probably one of my favorite games in the entire series, bro. Like, I absolutely love playing through it. In fact, I could probably do it again and enjoy it even more the next time I did it. Like, yes, the game might end up being more structured and more focused on certain things compared to FH2, but to be real, I think players might end up picking that over FH2 because they might be like, oh, we have the real sponsors. We have the feeling of, I'm in a real festival right now, bro. You got to go to this race. You go to the hub. There's an actual real sponsor, real companies, the music, the atmosphere. It's all there giving you that feeling on the game. Like, yes, there's some areas you probably wanted from FH2, and you know what? Best way to probably do it is just simply play them both is probably one of the best ways to do it. You know what I mean? But y'all know what, though? I could probably keep yapping on about this and going over different things and re-saying what I said in the other videos. But to be real, I don't want to go break down all those things and really compare everything about each game, as I'm sure a lot of people are pretty aware of that stuff, nowadays, of seeing like the old videos or, even playing each game and kind of being aware of what that stuff is. But the biggest thing with me is noticing that FH1 and FH2 are obviously both really good games. Playing one after the other, guys, and then doing that with the other Forza games, it's honestly just a really fun experience to see where the games are different or see how they might end up making you feel playing one to the other. And that's the biggest thing, though, is it's not that one game is better than the other, but one game might make you feel some type of way after playing the other one. That's something I really did notice. Do let me know what y'all think about playing Forza Horizon 2 and then jumping into 1. What would you guys notice specifically in each game going back and forth like that? I would like to know your thoughts in the comments below. And the funniest part is going back and playing each game, then going on like a newer one, playing the old one, makes me super excited to play Forza Horizon 6 to see how all of this stuff ties into that one in the newest title that is coming. I don't know about y'all, but the hype is definitely there.